In the 1950s, Plainville, Wisconsin was the kind of town people trusted. Neighbors waved, doors stayed unlocked, and if someone needed help, they went to Ed Gein. Ed was quiet, soft-spoken, a little strange but harmless. He babysat children, ran errands for elderly neighbors, worked odd jobs around town. People described him with the same words again and again: shy, polite, simple. No one suspected that behind his smile was one of the most disturbing minds in American history. Ed Gein was born in 1906, raised on a small, isolated farm outside Plainfield. His father was an alcoholic, absent, violent, but it was Ed's mother, Augusta, who shaped him. She was fanatically religious, obsessed with sin, punishment, and purity. She taught Ed that women were corrupt, immoral, dangerous, that the world was filthy, and that only she was pure. Ed and his brother were forbidden from having friends, forbidden from socializing, forbidden from becoming normal. The farm became their entire world, and Augusta became Ed's god. When she died in 1945, Ed didn't grieve her the way others do. He sealed off her bedroom, locked it, preserved it, treated it like a shrine. The rest of the house decayed, but her room remained untouched, because in Ed's mind, his mother was still alive. Years passed. Ed lived alone on the farm. He barely cleaned, barely cooked, barely slept like a normal person. The house began to rot, walls blackened, floors collapsing, trash piling up. But inside that filth, Ed began collecting. Not valuables, not money, bodies. At first, it was quiet. Ed read obituaries, waited until night, dug up freshly buried corpses from local cemeteries. He took only women, older women, women who reminded him of his mother, and he brought pieces of them home. Inside the farmhouse, Ed created things, not art, not decorations, things no human being should ever create. Masks made from faces, bowls made from skulls, furniture upholstered with human skin. He fashioned a full suit made of flesh. When asked later why, Ed said he wanted to become my mother. Not metaphorically, literally. He wore the skin, spoke to himself in a woman's voice, pretended Augusta was still alive and that he could become her. This wasn't rage, it wasn't anger, it was obsession. The murders. Ed didn't kill often. That's what makes it worse. In 1954, a tavern owner named Mary Hogan vanished. Her body was never found, but later, Ed casually mentioned to a friend that she was dead and pointed to a graveyard when asked where she was buried. People laughed. They thought it was a joke. In 1957, hardware store owner Bernice Worden disappeared. The last person seen entering her shop? Ed Gein. Police followed a blood trail from the store straight to Ed's farmhouse. When officers arrived at the farm, they opened a shed, and inside they found Bernice Worden's body, decapitated, hanging upside down, gutted like a deer. It wasn't rage, it was methodical. When police entered the house, what they found defied language. Human faces nailed to walls, organs stored in boxes, skulls used as bowls, skin lampshades, chairs made of bones. And in the center of it all, Ed Gein, calm, polite, apologetic. Ed didn't run, didn't scream, didn't deny anything. He explained everything like he was describing farm work. He said the bodies didn't scare him, they made him feel close to his mother. He claimed grave robbing was easier than murder, that killing made him nervous. That tells you everything. The trial and the truth.
Ed Gein was found legally insane. He spent the rest of his life in psychiatric institutions. Doctors diagnosed him with severe psychosis, schizophrenia, and identity confusion tied directly to his mother. He never showed remorse, not because he was cruel, but because he didn't understand what he'd done was wrong. To him, he was just trying to go home. Ed Gein didn't just haunt Wisconsin. He changed horror forever. His crimes inspired Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs. But none of those stories are worse than the truth. Because Ed Gein was not a monster hiding in the woods. He was your neighbor, your babysitter, the man who smiled and waved. Ed Gein proved something terrifying, that monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like someone you trust.